Today we are going to be going back over some of the PieMenu shortcut keys, and I'm going to try to finish that up in this tutorial. I hope you guys got that add-on installed, or like I said before, if you're already a user of Blender or a power user of Blender, this probably isn't going to be much help for you. Not unless you're interested in seeing how the PieMenus work. And if you are just tuning in now, I suggest to go back and watch part 1 so you can get caught up to part 2. And like I said, I think we're going to go ahead and get all the PieMenus out of the way in the shortcut keys, and then maybe the next tutorial or the tutorial after, we'll start getting into some of the fun stuff and start making something basic here inside of Blender. And like I said, this tutorials are geared towards beginners, and I just wanted to get everything out of the way as far as shortcuts and stuff like that. This time, if you press N, it'll bring up a menu on the right hand side. If you press N again, it'll take it away. And then this one on the left hand side, if you want more room, you press T and that'll take that one away, and then you press T again, it'll bring it back up. Or if you want, you could see there's a little plus sign up here. You can just take that and drag that out just like that. Press T to get rid of it, or you could click on it over here and bring that up. So over here I am going to enable screencast keys so you guys can see the keys that I am clicking, and it might be a little bit easier for you. And let's make these just a little bit bigger, and let's see, let's make the mouse just a little bit bigger also so you guys can see that. Alrighty, that should be good enough. And alrighty, so I'm going to press N again to get rid of that menu. Alrighty, so back into the PieMenus. The other shortcut key is if you press Q, it will take you to your different views. So you got top, left, right, the back, the front. You could go to the camera, get out of the camera. You can change it to perspective, and then you could go back to orthographic. Then you could go to bottom, and then back to top. So that's pretty easy. You just press Q, and then once you get used to it, like I said, you can press it real quick and just move your mouse. And it will just be super quick. The other shortcut keys for that is if you have a number keypad on your keyboard, you can press 1 for front, 3 for side, 7 for top view. Oops, wrong one. Let's see. And then you press Control 3 for the what would it be? The left side, and then just 3 for the right side. And then it is Control 1 for the back side, and just 1 for the front side. And then Control 7 for bottom, and then 7 just for top. So if you have a number keypad, that is how you move around on there if you want to press the number keypad. And then to get to your camera, you just press 0 on your number keypad, and it'll take you to your camera, and then press 0 to get out of there. So, and like I said, if you like the PieMenus, you get used to where everything's at, and it will be super quick for you. Just by pressing one key, and that is the Q key. Alrighty, so let's see. So before I went over Shift A, and now we just went over the views. And also, I'm sorry, towards the first video I explained how to maneuver around. I should have done that at the beginning of the video. I wasn't thinking, but I'm using middle mouse button to rotate around my scene, and then shift. If you hold down shift and middle mouse button, you can pan, and then to zoom in you just scroll up, and then to zoom out you just scroll back on with your middle mouse button. So that's how you maneuver around in there. Let's press tab, and then that takes you to your edit mode, and when you go into edit mode you can manipulate your object, and then if you hold G you can move it around freely if you'd like to do that, or if you just long press you can move it around that way too. Control Z to get out of that. So if you just hold down the left mouse button, like I said, if you're just getting into here, what did I do here? I moved this around up here. But if you go into your user preferences, just click down here and you can change here. You go into input and you select with, you choose your left one. So let's go back to the 3D view. Alright, and then like I said, if you just click on a vertex, you could freely move that around too without pressing G. So that's awesome. If you select with G, and then you could hold down your middle mouse button and you could restrain that on an axis. So you could go to your Y. Green is Y, red is X, and blue is Z or Z. Let's see here. And then for the pie menus, we got O. So if you press O, that takes you to your proportional editing. And so if we just turn it on and I press G, you'll see, let me scroll up, you scroll, or I mean scroll down, it scrolls it up, scrolls it in. And what this proportional editing is that it has an area. So if I just press A and then go up to here, so if you do it real fast, it'll select it all. So A, DE means deselect, and then just select all. It's all in one. So if I just select everything and then I hit W, it brings up these special menus, and I will subdivide this and come over here. It gives you some options for it. I'll subdivide it, we'll just say 4 times for now. And so if I come in here and click on a vertex and then press G to grab it, you'll see that the proportional editing, it will move all the vertexes that's inside the little bounding circle there. So if I scroll in, the less that it will manipulate around the vertex that you have selected. So if I raise it up, you can see the more that it'll let you manipulate on all these vertexes. And so if you just press O, that turns that on, and then you could go to smooth, or you could go to constant. Let's press G, and we'll show you the different effects that has. Like constant, it keeps the proportion. So if I press G and then on the x-axis, you'll see that it'll constrain it to the x-axis, and then we can get some kind of weird looking, like cross-shaped looking deal. So you got sphere. Let's grab. But the one that I normally use is I stay in smooth a lot. So, and you could think of these the sphere and constant and smooth. If you've used curves, it's just the way the curve of it works on when you go ahead and grab the proportional edit here. It's just a different way of telling it how you want to grab your vertices. So that's proportional editing, and we'll get more into that when the time comes. Let's see. So, and then next thing we'll go to, I'll show you, is if you just press A. In here, this is deselect all and select all. And some people might not like this. This was a little indifferent to me too when I first started using it, because I was used to just pressing A and it either selected all or deselected all. But I actually like this because it gives you a whole bunch of different options here, and I think a couple of these are for a different add-on, and I don't have it selected just yet. See, it's not working, so there's something here that I don't have turned on because I don't normally use this stuff a whole lot. So then this right here is the border select. Is if you take this A, border select, when you hold down your middle mouse button while your left click is still there, you'll see that it has a border select. But for border select, you just press B and then use your middle mouse button. And for some reason it's not working. Why isn't it working? B. There we go. And it'll select different vertices. So go A, deselect, B, select, and let's go back and press A and deselect all these. And down here you'll see this little that says limit selection to visible. So as you can see, like say if I go press Q and go into front mode and then zoom out here a little bit, and then if you press Q again and then go to orthographic, and if you come in here, you will see that you can't see the other vertices. So if I came here and I press B and I just tried to select, if I use my middle mouse button and moved over here, you'll see that it only selected these vertices. So I'm going to press 1 to go back into front mode, press A and just go up real fast. And if I tick this right here, you can't tell the difference now, but if I press B and then go and select this side and come back, you'll see the whole the whole side is selected. So it makes everything visible, like see-through, kind of like X-ray, and that makes it easier for selecting a bunch of vertices on one side or however you need to use it. So if I go ahead and I turn this off here, you'll see, let me zoom in just a little bit here, you'll see the difference. You can see through and you can see the vertices on the other side. If I tick it, you won't be able to see them no more. So if we're in the orthographic mode and say we wanted to select this group of 4 vertices right here, and but we wanted it selected on the other side, you can see that they aren't. So if I press 1 and go back into front mode, if I deselect everything and if I go down here and I turn this on, now and I press B to bring up box select, you'll see that I have it selected on the other side also. And then you could press 3, or you could go Q and you could go to the right side and you could press E for extrude, and then along the y-axis, and we could extrude things if we'd like. If you right click on something, it'll just bring it back to the state that it was in. That's pretty awesome. So we'll go ahead and press A and just go up real fast, and it'll deselect everything. Press 1, go back into front mode, and then let's turn this back on for now because we don't need to see through it. So we did proportional editing, we did the views, and we did the select and deselect for your vertices, and we will be using that a lot here. And let's see here. Okay, now if you see where your 3D cursor is, you'll see this little let me click right here. You'll see this little, this is your cursor, and you'll see this little marker here. So if we press Shift S, it'll bring up this menu right here. So you got your origin, which is this little dot right here. So if I just clicked on right here, and you see right here this origin, this is your origin point of your geometry, so it's right in the middle here. So if we press Shift S, we bring up different options. So you see how I have this vertice selected here. So if we press Shift S, sorry, and then click Origin to Selection, you'll see that if we press Z, that's the other one that I don't think I went over the other day, but we'll go over it. If we press Z, this is your different modes for your texture. You got like material mode, texture mode, your rendered mode, wireframe. These two are for shading. So, and then you got your solid. So we're gonna go to wireframe right now, so we can see through everything. And if we press Shift S, and we don't want to do geometry to origin, but we could go selection to cursor, and then your little cursor, which is this thing. So Shift S, selection to cursor, it'll bring everything to that cursor there. And if we press Shift C, it'll bring your cursor back into the middle of the grid. And press Shift S one more time, and then we could go selection to cursor. And if we move around here, you'll see that it put everything there. Make sure we're back into edit mode. So I just hit tab and just moved up real fast. So now that's object, that's edit mode. Let's move back in here and press Shift S. You got origin to the bottom, so we can move the origin point. See that little point down there? Moved it to the bottom. Shift S. We got others here. We got cursor to center. Shift S. Others. Cursor to center. And for some reason, others. Oops. Shift S. Others. Shift S. Others. Cursor to center. No, what the hell? I'm sorry. It was already in the center. Let me move this back over here. I don't know what I was thinking there for a second. Cursor to center, and it'll move that cursor to center. Shift S. Others. And then you got your cursor to active, cursor to grid. So this is moving your cursor around in the other menu. And Shift S. We got origin to center cursor. Shift S. Geometry to origin. And that puts everything back in the middle. So we will get into more of that too, like I said, when the time comes. Let's go press tab, and let's go back into edit mode, and let's press Z, and then let's go back to solid to bring this back to a solid state. And let's see here. Okay, we got snapping. So if we press Shift Tab, we got snapping. You could turn it on. We could go in increment, face, edge, vertex, volume, snap to target, align rotation. we will turn on increment for right now. And if we press 3, now let's go ahead and press Q, and let's go to left, and let's press, I don't know, let's maybe press right here in the middle, and then go back to left to line it up right here. And so if we press G, and then actually let's press O, and then let's turn off the proportional edit, and then let's press G, and then press Y to align it on that axis, sorry, and we can just pull it out. And you can't notice now, but let me zoom in a little bit here. You see these little grids here? So press G and then Y. You see it snapping to the grids there. So it's snapping in increments. And then if we go back to Shift Tab, you'll see we got face, so it'll snap it towards the closest faces. So if we move it over here, you see it's snapping to the face. Let's press Shift Tab again. Vertex, press G to grab it. You'll see it'll snap to the closest vertex. So that's basic snapping on there. And let's see, so got Alt Q, and this is your options for your selector right there. So Alt Q, use pivot align, medium point, individual origins, and which you could get to that down here, right here. So you got 3D cursor. Select, grab. Let's turn off snapping. So Shift Tab, let's turn snapping off. Let's just grab and then along the Z axis, and we'll just move it. And you'll see that it's moving along your pivot point now. So if we press Alt Q again, we got it set to the cursor, medium point, use active element, and then that moves it back up there to wherever you have your selection at. So grab Z. So, and that makes modeling a little bit easier at times. And let's see, Control A, tab back into, let's press tab and then go back into object mode, Control A, and you'll see that if you press Control A when you're in object mode, it'll bring up your transformations. And if we press in and bring up this menu here and scroll all the way up, you'll see your location, your rotation, and scale. And a lot of times when we're working, say, with like modifiers, which are modifiers over here, we'll get into that here later, and you'll see the scale and stuff. So if we press Control A, we could do the scale, and you'll see it'll bring it back to 1-to-1 values. And you want that because a lot of the times that screws up. I'm just pressing Control Z here. A lot of the times that screws up when you're trying to use modifiers and stuff like that, especially when you're trying to use what they call the array modifier. And so you just see that I can make this super long, and then I can offset it, and but we'll get into all this. I'm just showing you what I'm talking about on the array modifier. We'll just go ahead and click off there. But a lot of the times, if you scale this up, and by the way, press Z, I'm using S to scale, and then I'm just dragging out with my mouse. And a lot of times the scale will be all messed up and stuff like that, and your array modifier and a few other modifiers, they won't work right. And so if you just go Control A and then just hit scale, or you can do rotation and scale also. But right here we're just going to do scale, and it'll bring it back to a 1-to-1 value. And then your modifiers will start working right in most cases. So if we go Control A again, you could apply the location, the scale, the rotation in itself. You could go ahead and clear them all. Control A again. You do your transforms. Control A. So that's basically everything you could do with that. And I'm trying to remember if... Oh, okay. So let's go to Tab. And let's go to Other Modes. And then let's go to... where's it at? Sorry. Let's go to Tab. And let's go to Sculpt Mode. And in here we have W. Let's go to Tab and let's go to Edit Mode. And Tab, Sculpt Mode. W. What's going on here? W. There we go. For some reason it's being super slow. It'll bring up all your brushes. Not all of them. But on W, here's a lot of your brushes. This is in Sculpt Mode. And then if we press Alt W, it'll bring up the rest of your brushes. So that's a good, because especially if you're using a tablet, then you know, it's just a couple buttons to get to your brushes instead of coming over here and clicking and choosing. And there are shortcut keys for all these, but it's just more you have to remember. So you have a shortcut key for these to get to it. So I find that a lot easier. So let's go back to Tab, and then let's go back to Object Mode. And let's see, Alt Space is your regions. So you got global, your local, gimbal, view, and then normal. And most of the time, if you check down here, when it's on global, when you first come into I'm sorry, Blender. I don't know what I'm thinking. And so if we press G and then move it on the Y-axis, it's moving it on the global. It's moving it globally. So if we press Alt Space and we could go to the local. Now to move it along its local axes. And let's just press G and just Y. And this ain't a very good example. We will get into more modeling type stuff where we will use this a lot more. This is just a very basic cube or whatever, because I'm just trying to, like I said, show the shortcut keys. So Alt Space again, and then let's go back to global. And let's see, so I went over shading, the brushes, sorry, I'm just trying to think here. Control Shift. Okay. Now I think I showed this in the last tutorial too. Let's go back into edit mode. So I'm just pressing tab and I'm moving my mouse wheel up real fast. And so if we press Control Shift, that brings up your manipulator, and I'm pretty sure I showed this, but I'll go over it one more time. You click your manipulator, it takes it away, and then you can just use G to grab stuff, and if you need to move it on an axis, you press X, Y, or Z, which is Z, to move it on there if you like doing that. And like I said, sometimes I get a lot of geometry and you're really zoomed in, and if I press Control Space and I turn that manipulator on, and if you have a bunch of vertices in here or whatever, this thing will get in the way, especially when you have to select multiple vertices, which you could do that by holding down Shift and then just clicking on the other vertice. And sometimes it'll get in the way, and now I want to press Control Space and then just get that manipulator out of the way, or press Control Space. You can bring it to rotate, Control Space, scale, Control Space, translate. see, so let's go tab back into object mode, and let's see, I think that is all for that. And then here's another thing, if you've been using Blender a lot, let's press 1, or you can go Q and go into front. Let's tab into edit mode, and let's press A and go up, A again to select everything. And the reason why we went into edit mode is because I don't want the pivot point to move at all. So we're just going to press G and then Z and then press 1 on your keyboard, and then our pivot points at the bottom down here. And if we move this in object mode, it would have moved our pivot point with us, and I wanted the pivot point at the bottom. And of course we could have went in and changed the pivot point back down there if we wanted, but it's just easier to do it like that. And we are going to just do something real quick, a real quick animation, because I just want to show you. So we're going to go here, and we're just going to press I, and we could just press, you could use location right here, or you could use location rotation scale if you'd like. We'll just use that one for now. I'm not going to get too advanced in here, and we'll just with using your right click, we'll click down here, and or we could go right here and make it more precise, and I'll just do 15. What the heck? Alright, 15, and I will just grab it. I'll grab the arrow and move it on the y-axis right over here, and then I'll just press I, and then we can just do location rotation scale again, and then go down here. Here's your controls for your player down here. So if you press this, it takes it all the way back, and if you just press forward, it moves it forward, and you'll see that it moves that forward and then back. Alright, the other shortcut is if you press Alt A, and a lot of people might not like this, because I'm not too sure if I like this, and I'm not too sure if yeah, I think this is with the Wazoo Pi menus. I'm not too sure, but if you just press Alt A, most of the time when you press Alt A, it automatically starts it for you. Then you can press Alt A again, and then it'll stop. But here, you have to press Alt A, and then of course you have a Pi menu, and then it's got your keyframes, so you can insert a keyframe, delete keyframes, clear keyframes, all that good kind of stuff there. Or you can do a bake action here. So these are pretty awesome. But if you go to the animation, and then you got your play. So if we just do it real quick, Alt A, and then move over that way, Alt A, and then move back, it'll stop down here. And we could shorten this, your play area down here, if we click on this one and we'll just hit 20, press enter, just like that, and then bring it back, and then that way it'll loop just like that, and you can see it's moving. But you press Alt A and then come back over here to stop. So it's Alt A, and then to the right, Alt A, and then to the right real fast. So like I said, if you're a Power Blender user, you probably won't like this, because this is still a little bit weird to me, but it's alright, because I like some of the extra features it gives you with the keyframes and the bake action and stuff like that, and we'll get into all of that. And then you got your next frame, your previous frame, and stuff like that, and you will see these numbers on here. And that's one more, I think the last thing that we have to go over with these Pi menus. So if I press Alt A, you'll see that it has number 6 on there. So if I just press number 6 on the number keypad, you'll see it'll start. So if you Alt A, press 6 again, it'll stop it. So Alt A, you could press 9, and it'll jump forward. Alt A, and we'll press 7 to jump rewind, and that jumps you all the way back. press Alt A, and we'll press 3. It takes you to the next keyframe. And all the Pi menus have that. So if I just press Tab, you'll see that it has all these numbers on here. So if you like using the numbers or whatever, you could do that also. Let's see, so go back to Alt A, then jump back there, and press Alt A, and then go to animation, and you could clear the keyframes if you'd like to. Oops. And you hold down the middle mouse button to move this down here, but I didn't want to do that. So we'll just leave it right there. And let's see, is there anything else for the Pi menus right now? I think that is pretty much it for the Pi menus, and I think we are done with the shortcuts for that. And if there are any other ones, I will cover that in other tutorials. So press Shift C, put that back there. Yeah, I think that is it for the Pi menus. So we finally, in the first 2 videos, we covered the Pi menus and the shortcuts for the Pi menus and how to maneuver around. The next tutorial, we will start getting into some of the stuff over here, and then your tools and stuff over here. We will get into that, and then your menus down here, we'll get into that, and we'll just go over some of the menus and stuff like that. And once we get through all this boring stuff or whatever, then we can start getting to the cool stuff. But you know, and a lot of things that you're just starting out, if you're brand new to it, you need to learn these things. That way you know how to get around in here. And by no means am I saying you could learn this by a couple tutorials. You just got to get in and practice and stuff like that. So on to the next tutorial. So I hope you guys liked these first 2 tutorials here. Sorry for being a little short on some of the things or whatever, but I wanted to kind of get through and show you these Pi menus and the shortcut keys on how to get around. And by the way, a lot of these shortcut keys I am showing you, even if you ain't using the Pi menus, they still work for Blender. So, and then the last thing, of course, is if I let's just move some vertices around here. Just like that. And you're like, oh my god, and don't like it, you know, and then of course you got your Control Z. So Control Z makes it go back, Control Z, Control Z, and Control Z. So that is that, I think. So like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It's gonna be a little bit longer than the last one, and but I think we'll get on to some fun stuff here pretty soon. So please like and subscribe, and have a great day, and I will see you on the next tutorial. Thank you.